So I'm actually in the middle of this right now, but I want to put this in the beginning of the video. I would not suggest buying one of these, first of all, if you don't consider yourself somewhat of a handy person, because this is not an easy task putting this diffuser on this car. You're going to have to be modifying the diffuser and a little bit of the car. So just keep that in mind. This is a pretty expensive piece to be having to hack up and not have the greatest fitment. So I'm going to put that in the beginning of the video. All right, so we're going to start with the 4 bolts on each side. These are the ones holding these little splash mud flap thing. These 2 are on the diffuser, but these ones are sandwiched. So we're going to take those 4 off along with the 4 over here. So let's start with those. All right, so I'm glad I'm doing this now actually, because this entire diffuser and all like the mud flaps and everything are just full of stuff, like debris and stuff, because I'll put a picture on the screen, or a video actually, of what I did like 2 weeks ago where I took this thing out in like a straight monsoon for a car show. All right, so I got the wheels off. You are actually going to need to take the wheels off in order to get to the inner wheel well liner. You're going to need to take these off, or at least halfway, because on the diffuser, there's going to be 4 bolts on the inside right here, and I'll show you guys that when I get this pulled away. I might pull it all the way off just so you guys can get a better view, though. Wow, there is a lot of stuff in here, a lot of gunk, so we'll be cleaning that all out. This is why you don't drive your car in the rain, I guess, but who cares? They're meant to be driven. But so as you can see here, there's 1 bolt here, 1 bolt here, and 1 bolt here. These are in relation to the wheel well liner. They're right here. Come right here onto the sidewall. So after you get these 4 bolts all along the bottom, 4 on this side, 4 on that side, you'll have the 3 on the side there and the 3 on the side there. So we'll take those ones out next. All right, so all these are out. As you can see, it's got it loose. So the one up here and the highest one up here, these ones are pretty easy. You could just use our traditional, you know, ratchet. Down here, this one has a weird angle. So the easiest way I got that one was, obviously you can use a wrench, but it's gonna take a little bit longer. But I used an extension with a little swivel thing on the end. And also every single bolt that's one of these little ones is gonna be a 7mm. All right, so we got all the little 7mm bolts out of the diffuser. So the last 2 bolts, you're not cut loose. You got to go find your 10mm. But there's going to be a 10mm bolt right here. As you can see, it is connected to the diffuser. And you're just going to need to pull these 2 off right there and right there. All right, so the diffuser is fully off. It's just resting on the exhaust. But there's going to be various of these tabs. Just use common sense with this. You can go from the back or from the front. Just push them down accordingly. It takes a little bit of finagling, but this is off. Damn, no diffuser looks pretty sick, I'm not even gonna lie. Looks like a full-fledged race car. This is what it looks like with the diffuser off. I actually figured out my problem, which is really weird, but I was always wondering what the rattle in the exhaust was. So look what that is. That right there is the inside of my resonators at the top up there. So hold on, let me see. So that is free in there, just dangling around. So that's actually gonna be annoying as hell. I think I'm gonna have to, I mean, it can't obviously get through the bend because it's about this big and it's a straight piece. So I think I'm honestly gonna have to just chop it here and then re-weld it back on. But this car came with this exhaust, and some of these welds are cheech anyway, so I honestly want to spend this time just re-welding the full exhaust and making sure there's no leaks at all. All right, so I actually ended up cutting off these connectors. You could leave them in there and just dangle around, but in my ownership, and probably the rest of the car, considering how modified it is, I doubt anyone's ever going to want to switch back to that. So I'm going to cut these off, electrical tape, make sure that these ends don't touch. And I actually want to do this too, because if you can see the pop clip that goes through here, I bet I can get the fitment of the diffuser a little bit better without having this little nudge here. So I'm going to pop this clip out and tuck it way back there. For this one, or for that one, whichever one ends up being easier, I'm going to extend the wires up to here, and I'm going to have it come out of here, and then run an LED license plate frame as my reverse light. Sheesh, damn, that thing looking crazy. I'm super happy with how it looks, not so much with the fitment, but this is what you get buying a low-end diffuser. This diffuser is low-end, but it still costed me $1,200, which is mind-blowing. But getting it to line up on the proper little tabs here, there and there is going to be really difficult. And on top of it, these don't come with the proper mounting holes for right here and here, along with down here. So I'm gonna have to make these mounting holes. So right now I'm gonna try and get a paint pen. I'm gonna try and line it up over here and do my best job to get like a rough cut hole. I don't mind if they're, as you can see, I was rubbing on that. Those are where it has to go in. So I'm gonna get a rough idea of where the hole needs to be. And I'm also not scared of widening out the hole and making a little slot just so I get more adjustment. Okay, as you can see, what I did here is I put a little hash mark where it seems to be lined up when I push it up. Then I'm gonna take a wild guess and go in the middle of the diffuser in between there and there. All right, so what I've done is I drilled all 3 holes and I fully bolted in this one on the top. So now what I'm gonna try and do is come over to this side, put this side up, get all 3 holes on this side, and then put one in here. So what makes this install difficult is obviously, it's all up to you. You know what I mean? You have to put all the holes in. All right, so back to this side, I got my little paint marks of where they roughly will be. I will say that this would be a hell of a lot easier with an extra person, you know, helping with pushing things up and bending stuff. Because as you guys know, carbon fiber is very stiff, as it should be. But this stuff, it needs to have a little bit of flex to get the contour of the bumper in order for it to fit properly. So you're gonna have to flex a little bit. But it would be a lot easier with another person, but it's definitely doable without one because that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm gonna put these holes in, try and get one of these mounted, and then see what I'm looking like and seeing if I have to put in those little brackets all the way up there. All right, so I got them started. I got the top one in here. I'm gonna need to adjust some of these holes. That's why I wanted to do the first top 2 because those are the easiest ones to put in. I also ended up getting this one in. As you can see, there's a little gap here. There's not much I could do about it, but we'll see when I get it fully installed. But as you can see too, since my holes, this is like a guess and check that I'm doing. It works pretty good because there's kind of no other way to do it. But as you can see, my hole's a little off-centered, so all I'm gonna do is slot the hole this way. That's what I ended up doing with this one. And then we'll do that with this one down here, just to get it perfect. But I'm super stoked on how the tips came out. All right, so with it roughly, and obviously, like I said before, 2 bolts on each side. I'm going to see every place it contacts. One place it contacted was right here. So now I got that clearanced with the Dremel. I'm gonna go do that on the other side. And it looks like it's also hitting up on the tip area, so I'm gonna have to figure that out separately. All right, so I'm about to take the diffuser off to get trimming and moving my holes. So what I did was I got the first one mounted of both sides, and now I could see where the holes that I already drilled are in correlation to where they should be. So I put a little mark on the diffuser where I have to slide them over. So I'm gonna slot those a little bit here and here. But other than that, I'm gonna slide it off. I'm going to Dremel out this to get it to fit better, and then we'll see where that takes us. So the more I look at these brackets that came off the stock diffuser, I'm definitely not gonna put these on. If I was to put these on, I'd have to make a completely different bracket because of how far off they are. But the diffuser has a ton of rigidity, so I think it's gonna be fine. Like the stock diffuser is like super flimsy and plastic. That one's more rigid. So I honestly don't think it's necessary. So when buying carbon or body panels like this, you're gonna have to figure out your own way to mount it. That's what sucks about not buying the extra $1,000 one, but hey, it's worth saving money. So right here, you can see that the sway bar is actually right here. And the sway bar doesn't really flex that much, and it's pretty solid. So compared to all over here, there's not really anywhere to mount it. So what I am gonna do is I'm actually gonna put I'm probably gonna put like 3 or 4 holes down each side, and I'm gonna zip tie around the sway bar, and I'm actually gonna add foam underneath as well to every spot that I might hear it going like this. because you don't want to hear any rattles, especially in a cammed car. You'll hear everything. All right, so back on my table, I just set up. I had the paint marks that I told you guys to do earlier. So you're gonna want to Dremel out from there to there with a little slot. This is just for my car too. I have a pretty meaty exhaust setup. If you had a stock exhaust or a lot smaller tips, you wouldn't have to be doing this. So this is if you have a modified exhaust or a modified exhaust that needs to do this. Most modified exhausts probably won't need this to be trimmed. All right, so what I've also done while it's out the car, I installed some PPF right here. You can see the line. It came out kind of shitty, but the tips are gonna be sitting here anyway, and you're not gonna see this. And worst comes to worst, you peel it off, it's PPF. So I just didn't want it to yellow here because it's gonna be getting really hot, especially with the flames. And I also put some foil tape right here, just where the exhaust is really close. You know, just for extra safety, I do want to preserve this as much as I can. But we should be ready to put this back on the car right now after I just widen out those holes, and we should be good to go. All right, so I got my line of holes for either side of the sway bar drilled. I found this this sticky foam stuff. I'm going to be using this on here where the sway bar is going to be contacting this, and any little spot that is going to be touching metal or something hard so that this thing does not rattle at all. So I'm going to first put a strip here, mount the thing, hopefully for the last time, with just a piece here. And then the rest of the foam I should be able to put in all the little nooks and crannies where I think that it's going to be making noise. So like I said before, I was hearing a rattling in my exhaust, and I was like, what the hell is that? I checked everything, nothing was touching. And comes to find out, I looked in here, and the inside of my little muffler right up there just blew out, probably from the two-step or something. But look at that. This is the inside of that muffler. I saw it dangling down here, so there's nowhere to unbolt it. It's just a bend, so I had to cut it on the straight section, and then I'm gonna have to re-weld this. But that gives me a good opportunity to clean up all these other welds that someone else did. So yeah, let's pull this thing out and then finish installing the diffuser. That is crazy. I've never seen that ever happen. But hey, at least we don't have a rattling exhaust anymore. That is weird though. All right, let's finish up welding and then put the diffuser on. All right, finally got all the leaks situated, so now I'm gonna hit it with some high temp paint so that it doesn't rust. So I want to show you guys the vision. So those are the 4 zip ties. They're on loosely right now, but as you can see, I have them foam underneath in between the sway bar and the diffuser, and then I'm gonna zip tie those across the top just for you know, this also has a little bit of a block off here, so not much wind is gonna go through there, so I'm not really worried, because I mean there's no mounting for this anyway, so maybe they intend for you not to mount it, but I'm just doing this for an extra sense of security. But I'm gonna put those on, and then I'll get you guys after that. I also put all 3 of these in permanently so that the diffuser is not coming off anymore. And then now I gotta just drill these holes, figure out what I'm doing to trim the mud flap, and then this diffuser will be installed after, geez, what feels like a million years. Working, so we're gonna have to trim these down probably about right here-ish. So I'm gonna get this trimmed up and then show you the exact shape and how far you're gonna have to cut these. All right, so the cut I've made is a nice little L. I wanted to keep this extra dangly piece right here by notching it out, just so that it could sit in here, and you could either self-taper it or just 3M it, or honestly, it'll just, when I bolt this in, it'll just be held in there. But that's pretty good right there. I'm happy with that. You really won't see this, but that's what it'll look like when it's all done. All right, there you go. Mud flaps are notched on both sides. The final bolts are here. As you can see, the splash guard or the wheel well liner, those 4 bolts just need to be drilled out. So all we're gonna do is add some bolts here, bring the mud flap in, sandwich it in there, and then tighten these 4 bolts up once we get these drilled. So I'm gonna drill these out real quick. There we go, all the bottom bolts and the inner wheel well liner bolts are in. So let me just finish up the other side, and this diffuser is fully installed. much.